amigas y bienvenidos. Good morning and welcome once again to Tiempo. I'm Joe Torres. The Spanish-speaking population in Westchester County on the rise, growing, and there is a concerted effort aimed at educating that population in both English and Spanish. That was the focus of a unique symposium recently at Mercy College. We're going to tell you all about that in just a few minutes. Recently, Mercy College in Westchester County held its first ever dynamic bilingual symposium. It is designed to educate the educators by providing them with more teaching, more effective teaching practices, if you will, practices aimed at helping students learn better in both languages. And we're joined this morning by Zoila Tassi and Aramina Vega Ferrer from Mercy College. Welcome to you both. The symposium was earlier this month. It went bien?
Very well.
Fantastic?
Very well.
Did I summarize it correctly? I mean, this is for the teachers, correct?
Yes, and principals and school leaders.
With the hope that they do what with the information that they gathered?
So as the population of children who speak other languages enter suburban schools,
yes,
teachers and administrators need to have the expertise to deal with that, right? A child comes in not speaking very much English. Well, we want to provide the support and the new understandings about bilingualism that are going to affect instruction.
Okay, we'll get to new understandings in a second. You focus this in Westchester County largely. ¿Por qué?
Well, we're expanding, obviously.
Yeah.
We're in Westchester. Mercy has campuses in Westchester, Dobbs Ferry.
Right.
And Zoila is a faculty member there, and I'm from the Bronx, but we have come together in this belief that we have to spread the doors open at Mercy and move into the communities, especially with regard to bilingualism in New York State.
Largely because what you've seen in Westchester is just exponential growth, correct? In terms of number of Latinos that are arriving there.
And in general, across the country, the suburbs are becoming increasingly diverse, and it's the sort of the gateway for new immigrants. And
all right, let me get you to summarize it. What was happening before in the approach of teaching these children, and what do you hope to do differently? You start with the previous. What was happening before?
Well, I'm one of the people who was there before.
Okay.
I was a Spanish high school teacher, went on to become an ESL teacher, bilingual supervisor, a principal that developed diverse programs in the school, bilingual, dual language, enrichment programs. So I was actually doing the work.
Yes.
But the work was very hard because, in the larger sense, the policies don't support bilingualism in the way that we, who believe in it and are great models for bilingualism, do. So now we have a little more support in New York State. Part 154 was just amended.
Okay.
So we have some new policies supporting English language learners in bilingual programs.
So what's the approach now?
So we have tended to think of bilingual people as having sort of two separate columns of different words, right? And that one doesn't have anything to do with the other. Dynamic bilingualism says, no, a child has an entire linguistic repertoire, right? And if you bring that to bear in the teaching and learning process, that will advance learning in English. If you bring the home language for comprehension, for meaning making, for adjustment, for all of those things, that will advance learning in English. There's research behind that. And so the barrier that it's breaking is, the teacher giving the advice, just speak to them in English so that they don't get confused, telling the parents that, or doing that themselves. We're saying, no, it's quite the opposite. Because of the interaction of languages in the bilingual individual, you want to use everything they have.
All right, let me put you on the spot. Give me an example of that, something that you would illustrate in class.
Well, I will give you a little example of the work that I did even in my own classrooms, because bilingual teachers were doing a lot of this because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And so now the research has caught up, and actually the research now is so exciting because we're looking at how children develop language in the home and we're learning from parents. But for example, when I had to explain a concept in English to students about character development, for example, I would draw, if students looked perplexed, I would say, en español, ¿quieres una traducción? And they would say, sí, Miss Vega. And I would then say, personajes en español. And so they would make the connection, and then we say, okay, are we ready? We can move on into English. So it's using that language in the classroom and sending a very strong message to kids that that language is powerful.
Okay, sit tight. When we come back, we're going to discuss more, get into the details on the best ways, really, to educate Latinos in both English and Spanish so that they learn. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's fascinating. We're discussing the first ever symposium on dynamic bilingualism. It was recently held in Westchester County to better teach the growing Spanish population there in English and in Spanish. Zoe Latazi and Aramina Vega Ferrer are both from Mercy College. You said earlier you have the research behind you to substantiate this approach, to say that it's working. Why is it working? Why is this way better?
Because when you use everything that the child has, when the child's bilingualism is a resource rather than an impediment,
yes.
right? So in other words, you draw on their understandings in the home language, let's say in Spanish. You draw from that to advanced learning in English. If I can make reference to what you already know, I can take you further. But if I don't know what you know, or I make that irrelevant, then we're starting at zero again.
Okay.
And so what we're saying is that there's an interplay between the languages that we should not be afraid to use. Right? Children who are taught bilingually learn English more quickly.
Is that what you mean by translanguaging?
Translanguaging is about strategies, right? How do you do that? And in fact, how do you do that if if the teacher is not bilingual herself or himself, right? So we talk about being flexible with scheduling. We talk about co-teaching, using other means in order to get to that home language, rather than say, sink or swim, you know, if you don't speak English.
Is this working its way into core curriculum, if you will? And if not, does it need to be?
Well, we're very excited because with the Common Core, we see bilingualism at the center. Because how can you, in this society
as illustrated in our previous segment,
exactly,
yes.
How can you relegate your children to speaking only one language? And if they already speak a language coming to this country, why are we not celebrating and building on that so that they are prepared for college and careers, and they can take their place anywhere in the world?
It'll make them that much more valuable as a job candidate once they get to that point.
And also, we're not even touching on the cultural aspects and self-concept. Children have gone home and they've been embarrassed about their languages. No, we're saying you should be proud, and we want parents to know that it's okay for them to speak in the native language, that they should be reading to them in the native language and developing that bilingualism in the home.
It's almost a throwback, right, to getting the parents to say, yeah, speak your language, embrace your language, if you will. We've got about a minute left. I'm sure 5-6 months, you tell me, went into creating this symposium.
Yeah, about 6 months.
We've mentioned it over and over. It was the first of its kind. Is there a hope and aspiration that it'll become an annual thing, and that you'll move it beyond Westchester to other places?
Given how well received it was and how many people attended, we know we're meeting a need, and that's where we'd like to remain, right? We want to be responsive to what the educators need in order to move this forward. So in Westchester County, in our other campuses in the Bronx, most definitely this kind of event, this kind of topic, and even more targeted practice is the kind of thing we want to offer.
I'll let you have the last word, 30 seconds left. How do you measure the effectiveness of the symposium? Are you waiting for feedback from teachers and principals and administrators who attended and will tell you down the road, Mira, I implemented it, it's working?
Well, they're reaching out to Mercy, they're reaching out to us. And superintendents want to work with us because we're taking a leadership role here, and we're very proud that we have faculty that can bring this to the fore. And we're products, and we're teachers and principals, so...
I'm sure the pride will continue when you get the phone call say, it's working, it's working. Thank you, ladies, very much. It's just a fascinating approach. Muchísimas gracias to you at home. We thank you for being with us. If you missed any part of our show, you want to learn about that all over again, you can watch it on our webpage at 7 Online, on the web, on your tablet, or even on your smartphone. That wraps up another edition of Tiempo. I'm Joe Torres. We thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will see you next time.